Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and the receptionist at a courier company. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 8. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning, this is Sam speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, my name's Marco and I'm calling to inquire about sending some goods to Canada.
The destination country is Canada, so you write Canada in the space provided. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 8.
Good morning, this is Sam speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, my name's Marco and I'm calling to inquire about sending some goods to Canada.
No problem. What's your full name, please, Marco?
My middle name is Pronto. That's Pronto.
Sorry, Marco, just your surname will be fine. That's all we need for the form.
It's Cebriana Tori. That's Cebrianatori.
Great, and your address, please?
I live on Grimsby Place.
Grimsby Place, okay?
But wait, you mean the address from where the goods will be collected?
Right.
In that case, I better give you my mum and dad's address. My stuff is there temporarily until I make the move. Same street, house number 25 in Grimsby, and the postcode is GB8 6BY.
Now, Marco, tell me what you'd like to have shipped.
I'm moving to Canada, so I have a fairly big container for my belongings, you understand.
Of course. What are the dimensions?
It's 2 meters high, 1.5 across, and 3 meters long.
My, that's huge.
Tell me about it. Moving day is going to be a nightmare.
And what will this container contain then?
Well, to start with, there's my television. I'm also taking a brand new sofa bed with me, as well as my fridge, freezer and home computer.
I see. That all sounds rather valuable. Do you know the total value of the goods in the container?
Yeah, I estimate about £5,000.
Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 9 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 9 to 10.
Excellent. Now, shipping to Canada is not by any means cheap these days, so this is going to cost you £500?
That would nearly pay for a new TV and sofa.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? But as I said, shipping is an expensive business. How do you intend to pay then, Marco?
Credit card, okay?
Fine. I assume you are the card holder.
Actually, it's my sister's account. Mine is a little tight for me at the moment with the expense of the move, so it's either a case of ask sis or ask the parents. Which would you choose?
I see what you mean. Okay, I'll take the details in a moment and confirm the collection date. But first, let me just ask you a few questions about your move to Canada. The Canadian government requires all shipping companies to carry out a thorough check before agreeing to ship goods into the country. And part of that check is a personal profile of our customers, you see. So, why are you moving to Canada?
My girlfriend's Canadian. I'm going to live with her.
And what will be your employment status over there?
Well, I'm travelling on a working holiday visa, but I hope to secure a work-sponsored visa shortly after arrival.
Let's see. A holiday visa?
No, a working holiday visa. That allows me to stay in the country for 12 months as opposed to 60 days with a holiday visa.
Okay, no.
That's the end of section 1. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You will hear a guide talking to his tour group. First, you will have some time to look at questions 11 to 18. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 18. Welcome everyone to London Zoo. We're going to start our little adventure at the petting zoo. That's the enclosure just up ahead before you come to the zebras and elephants. After that, our next stop will be the African hunting dog enclosure, which is just up ahead at the fork in the path. Then we'll follow the path left. On your left, you'll see the zoo's selection of monkeys, and on the right, the panda enclosure. Then we'll take the path off to the right, leading past the aviary and on up to the birds of prey enclosure. We'll come back around the gorillas then and head down the main path towards the entrance, taking a left off that up towards the zoo's selection of big cats. On the right, we'll take a few moments to marvel at the immense size and strength of the polar bears. Then we'll follow the path around by the leopard enclosure to pay a visit to the king of the jungle himself, the lion. After the lion enclosure, we'll walk past the other big cats and hunting animals towards the reptile enclosure. One of the highlights of a visit to London Zoo is seeing the emperor penguins. But before that, there's the seal pool to visit. We'll arrive there just in time for feeding at 3 o'clock. That leaves us with 5 more enclosures to visit. First, the Arctic fox enclosure, followed by the rhinos and dolphins, left and right respectively, and then on to the hippo enclosure. Our last stop will be the giraffes, on the way back to the entrance. Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 19 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 19 to 20. Now, after our little tour, I'd like to take you all back to the information centre located at the entrance to the zoo. Here you can learn lots more about the animals you've seen during the day. As part of your tour package, I'm going to give everyone a voucher for the Zoo Cafe. That covers a light snack up to the value of £3 and tea or coffee or a soft drink for the kids. If you want to get a full meal, you will have to pay the difference. The voucher also includes a free ride on the zoo locomotive, a little train that goes all around the zoo. The little ones will love this, and I highly recommend it as a way to round off the day. Don't forget you can purchase souvenirs in the zoo shop. As a member of this tour group, you will receive a 10% discount on all purchases under £40 in value and 20% off purchases of £40 or more. If you are thinking of coming back to the zoo again in the near future, you may also want to consider purchasing our season ticket, which is on special offer at the moment with 40% knocked off the price. So I think that's all the bases covering what we needed. That's the end of section 2. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear a discussion between two work colleagues and their manager about the restructuring of their company. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Come in, both of you. I believe you wanted to talk to me about something, is that right?
Yes. Basically, all the staff are concerned about what the restructuring of the company is going to mean for them. None more so than myself and Nam, as we are the newest members.
As I said to all staff at the meeting last week, there's no cause for concern. There will be no compulsory redundancies. All redundancies will be on a voluntary basis.
Yes, we understand that, but to tell the truth, we just want a little reassurance that our jobs are safe.
Look, Anne and Penny, the company isn't going to be short-sighted and let its bright young minds go. Besides, we've already met our target for the number of voluntary redundancies we want to secure. In fact, there's a waiting list. You know as well as I do that the age profile of staff at this company needs to come down. A lot of our employees are close to retirement age and are just going through the motions until they can take their pensions. That's why we decided on this redundancy initiative. We want to encourage those that would be happy to leave to do so and employ younger, more motivated staff.
I guess that makes us feel a little better, but we're also worried about the upcoming salary review. What will it mean for us?
Given the fact that the company's motivation for this restructuring initiative is not to cut costs, you needn't be worried that there will be a negative effect on your salaries. We are running a very profitable business and we will reward our top performers in the upcoming review. Both of you fall into that category, so you can expect a healthy bonus and salary increase. Simple as that.
That's good to know. Another thing on our minds was the fact that with all these voluntary redundancies happening in the next few months, there will be a lot of positions opening up higher in the company. What we were wondering is, will the recruitment drive be an internal or an external one?
Obviously, we will recruit internally where possible. That has always been company policy. So, if you're asking me will there be opportunities to gain a promotion in the near future, then the answer is very definitely yes. The type of candidate we would be looking for has a proven track record and is performance-driven.
How can we improve our chances of getting promoted then when the opportunity arises?
Well, in the meantime, be prepared to take on additional responsibilities, especially those relating to the management of other members of staff. Obviously, the higher up you go in the company, the more involved you'll be in managing people. What the management team is looking for then is proof that you can work effectively with and manage other members of staff.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, You have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
One more thing.
Go on.
This project you've given us to manage, is it a test of our abilities?
I guess you could say it is a test of sorts, but look at it more as a chance for you to prove yourselves. Actually, now that I have you both here in private, can we talk about that a bit?
Of course.
OK, Penny, let's start with you. Has the timescale been agreed yet?
Yes. You said we have a total of 8 weeks to bring the product to launch. So we've decided to allocate 3 weeks at the beginning to product research and prototype testing.
Very good.
Then after that, we are going to spend a further 3 weeks formulating our marketing strategy and doing some research and testing on a sample of the target market itself to get some feedback.
And presumably the last 2 weeks will be devoted to the launch?
Exactly.
Now, let's talk estimated costs.
Well, you've given us a total budget of £100,000. Of that, we're allocating 50% to product development and testing, a further 25% to marketing, and £25,000 will be spent on the launch.
Penny, give me a breakdown of the launch costs, would you?
Sure. £10,000 will be spent on hiring and decorating the venue. £10,000 will be spent on promotional work, and the remaining money will be used to pay for catering and administrative costs.
I'm very happy with that, to be honest. As I said, you guys should stop worrying. You're doing a fantastic job, so keep it up.
That's the end of section 3. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You will hear part of a talk about how to attract birds to your garden. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
The best way to attract birds to your garden is by satisfying their basic needs, which are the need for water, the need for food, and the need for safety. Birds drink water and bathe in it, and many also use it to make mud to build their nests. A simple bird bath, which can be nothing more complicated than a shallow dish, will therefore attract birds. Don't use tin pans, as these get hot under the heat of the sun. In fact, a cement bowl is probably going to be the most effective bath to use. But make sure that it is no more than 6.5 centimetres deep. The best time of all to attract birds to your garden, and indeed the time when they need your help most, is during the winter season. During summer, birds can find most of their food on their own and are largely self-sufficient. In winter, however, they benefit greatly from the help of their human friends. Often, when it is cold, an ice or frost crust may form over the ground, covering the birds' natural food supply. It is when this happens that they really need your help with feeding. It is probably best, though, to start feeding from late autumn onwards. That way the birds will become used to finding food in a certain spot. So later, after the onset of the winter, they will become a permanent feature in your garden. Put food out at night so that the birds will find it the next morning. And whatever you do, make sure that you make your feeder accessible from a raised landing area only. Otherwise, you will find yourself attracting some unwanted pests such as rodents like mice, and worse still, rats. Continue feeding until early spring, when food becomes plentiful again. If you cannot serve them insects, then try to give the birds suet, a form of beef fat. You can buy this cheaply at pretty much any meat market, so it won't cost you an arm and a leg. As well as being nourishing, suet also has the advantage of not freezing during cold weather. Many birds will also enjoy crumbs, nuts, and seeds. You can even serve them boiled potatoes and hard-boiled eggs, provided these are finely chopped. Other foods you probably have lying around in your store cupboard may also be used. Try feeding them raisins, figs, dried fruit generally, biscuits, boiled rice, and so on as well. If you want to build a birdhouse or nesting box, I would encourage you to proceed by all means. These offer fine protection, especially for the smaller and more vulnerable species. You can buy ready-made nesting boxes and shelves for a very reasonable price these days. Alternatively, if you fancy doing a little DIY, they are not very difficult to build either. Most birds prefer houses made of rough slabs of wood covered with bark, which to the birds feels quite authentic and natural. If at all possible, try to match your birdhouse to the surroundings as well. So, if you paint your birdhouse, be sure to use a dull grey-green or brown colour. The simplest type of birdhouse to construct yourself consists of a hollow branch nailed to a tree. When you are erecting your birdhouses, be sure to place them a good distance apart from one another. Few bird species enjoy nesting in close proximity to competitors of their own kind. Cleanliness is vitally important too. Your bird nest should be cleaned out yearly to make room for new nesting material to be brought in by their seasonal tenants. Early autumn is the best time to prepare your birdhouse, as the new season's chicks will have hatched and flown the coop, so to speak. Once cleaned, your birdhouses will be ready to welcome their spring visitors once they return to your neighbourhood early the next year.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.